This is the first time I've gone live on Facebook or YouTube only. We have an issue with Zoom, and so we're going to hack it. Just like we're hacking our brain, we are going to hack it to YouTube. It looks like we are live.
You are live on YouTube. You are
Can
not
you
going
please
to restream.
tell everybody on
Yes, I will do
Facebook?
that.
Wonderful. Okay. So let me go ahead and hit the record because, you know, an unusual guest, a super phenomenal guest is requires unusual circumstances, phenomenal circumstances. The first time that I'm going to give YouTube the equal opportunity. I normally go live only on, like if it's this opportunity, these things happen, I only go live on Facebook. So today we are talking about the brain. So let me go ahead and hit the record button. Okay, everybody, this is an incredible day. We're going to learn how to biohack, how to work with, how to improve, you could insert whatever it is that you want to insert the brain with Patrick Porter and BrainTap. So fasten your seatbelt, everybody, because we're going to learn and grow together. And by the way, I heard that Patrick has been taking dance lessons just for this moment. So here we go. It's time to dance.
The Lillian McDermott Show.
We love, we fear, bridges we burn, we make mistakes, then we live and learn. When life gets tough, and it seems like your best ain't good enough. If you're in need of hope, you know where I'll be right here, right here. And when you need a friend, you can count on me. I'll be right here, waiting for
you. This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening and viewing friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, because you know Patrick Porter is in the classroom, please know I've been waiting for you. This is a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my listening, as well as my viewing friend, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now, today, you know, we are facing lots of chaos. There is a global crisis. There is so much uncertainty. There is the holidays. I wasn't even talking about all of that on top of the holidays. We are constantly doing. And for many of us, that includes maybe poor eating, maybe poor sleeping, maybe whatever it is that you want. But as you know, this is one of my obsessions. I talk about it all the time. I love BrainTap. I've even worn it during a class because what it does is that it works with you to get that balance in your brain that you so deserve. And so today we have the founder of BrainTap, Patrick Porter, Ph.D., who understands the brain and helps us get a little bit closer to understanding the brain. And so how can you, and let me know if this sounds like you, are you having problems sleeping? Are you having problems focusing? Are you having problems just getting out of bed in the morning? How can one solution help a blanket of a bunch of other things? Well, today, Patrick Porter is going to help us learn a little bit more about our brain and how BrainTap will help you achieve just that. And since this is our sole purpose in life, to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Patrick Porter is here to do just that. Welcome back, Patrick, and great dancing, by the way.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was remembering how David Icke did it on your show, and I thought I don't want to look like that.
Oh, David Icke said this to me. Do you, I do me.
He looked very British when he was doing it. He looked very British.
He did not move. He did the stone, but he is such a great guy. I'm glad that you were able to watch him. He is.
Oh, I love it. I love his stuff. I think it's great. When I saw you had him on there, I knew I had to watch it. So it was good.
Yeah, thank you. And he gave such great tips on, for the future and some of the things that we may have to say to protect ourselves. Like being a breathing, living human being or
Yes.
person. Yeah. Okay. So
I don't know what kind of science experiment we're in right now, but it's one. So
yeah, absolutely. So Patrick, share a little bit about your background and what led you to fine tune the brain with the headset of the BrainTap.
Well, it was actually a series of problems that happened in our family growing up. My dad was a very gifted alcoholic, and I was a very gifted troublemaker, and there were 9 of us in our family. So, one thing you don't want to hear from your parents is, at least my father, he was 35. He said, I woke up and I had 9 kids, so some church elders came over and said, hey, Michael, we want you to come into this course that we're giving at the church. And it was actually a priest and a nun that came over and helped my dad learn something called the Silva Method, technology-driven meditation. They used a sound. And that started me on my way. And I remember making my first recording at 12 years old because my dad tried to do it, but every time I heard my dad, I heard every 4-letter word but love. So I had to create my own. And so I just started creating my own sessions. And I remember my favorite Christmas was I got a tape recorder alarm clock, which meant the alarm would go off with whatever I put on the tape recorder, and I'd always put my weekly affirmations on there. And so when I woke up, that would wake me up in the morning. So this has kind of been my life, and I got blessed. I went to school first for electronics. So people go, how did you invent this headset? And you've got a degree in psychology. Well, I really wasn't going to be in psychology. It took me 12 years to get that degree, but I went to school first for electronics because I loved electronics. That's what got me into it. And so by doing that, a series of events happened, and I got in touch with a company called Light and Sound Research, and I became their researcher in the 80s, and we invented the first portable light and sound machine, and I've been doing it ever since. I'm the last man standing. There were 6 of us to start with, and I was the young guy that did most of the work, but the rest of them have went on to bigger and better things. So.
Well, Patrick, explain. And for those of you who are watching and you want to learn more, you can go to whenyounneedafriend.com, and there is a free trial that you can click on. You don't have to have the headset. So make sure that when you're listening and you're learning about the brain, you also learn that there's so many different ways that you can entrain your brain through BrainTap. So when it comes to all the stresses that are happening in the world, when I started talking about, government, the uncertainty of elections, there's so many, the virus, the holidays, being told that you cannot be a part of, celebrating with a group larger than 6. I mean, all this nonsense. What does that do to our brain? What does it do to our psyche?
Well, we're social animals. In fact, there was a big report that came out about 3 years ago that told they were trying to eliminate isolation in prisons because of how much damage it was doing to people. But they're doing it to a whole world. I mean, they've taken the whole world and isolated us. So we're meant to have connection. At least we have this connection. But if you've seen the movie, The Social Dilemma,
yes, Social Dilemma is great.
That's why it doesn't matter what, party you're in, Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter, because whatever you are, you're only getting served up what you want to see, what's going to encourage you to point, click, and stay engaged. And it's like, when I see somebody go, why isn't everybody else seeing that?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see it because it's not being served up, because everything is totally different. When I was a kid growing up, the news actually reported reality. Now they make the news. They don't report on the news. There's a big difference there. So the whole thing is that the narrative is, right now, the narrative is It's not going to get better. We've got to have a vaccine. And then we're being told the vaccine's 75% good, but the 25% are dying. I mean, come on. It's not like you just take it and nothing happens like natural medicine. I tell people, they go, what's the worst thing that can happen with BrainTap? You fall asleep. It's not like you're never going to wake up. So these are stressful times, and uncertainty is one of the worst things. If you were going to, there's a book that's called The Snapping. And that book about snapping is about how cults create followers. And they're right out of the playbook. This whole pandemic is out of that playbook. And the problem is, if you don't see it, you get sucked into it. I mean, 4 weeks ago in my little town of New Bern, I could go anywhere I wanted without a mask. I would hardly see somebody wearing a mask. Very rarely anywhere. But today, when I go out after this conversation, because I got to go get some things from the store, everybody's going to be, I'm going to be looked at like I'm a pariah, getting mask shamed. And I'll have it in my pocket in case push comes to shove, but I usually don't wear it. But the reality is that there's been no more deaths than there is in a regular flu season. This is the facts. There's been a lot of cases, but when you have a 40% case rate, they've also proven that this mask thing doesn't work. If it worked, why are we having a spike? I mean, it's like,
that's right. People aren't thinking.
So all that is, and what it's doing is it's telling people, Lillian, don't worry about it. Don't think. We're going to think for you. We're going to take care of your children. We're going to take care of your parents. We're going to take care of anybody's, you could be purple or green. It doesn't matter. We're going to take care of you. Everything's going to be, and it's crazy because our brains want to think. One of the things that we need to survive, how many people out there know somebody who retire and expire? That's what's happening today. Yeah. They don't have a future. I mean, think about it. There's more suicides today than there were a year ago because we didn't have this thing going on. I mean, our brain needs a future. If we don't have a future, something to live for, something that's positive, then we become destructive. When alcoholism is up, or not alcoholism, but the alcohol consumption is up over 400%. And they're legalizing, we have friends in Oregon, and somebody sent us a meme. It had a plastic straw, and then it had a pile of cocaine. It said, which one of these are illegal in Oregon? The plastic straw. How ridiculous is that? Our world is just getting, I mean, if somebody would have put us here, I grew up in the 70s, 60s and 70s. So if somebody would tell me that I was going to pay more for water than gasoline, I'd have told them they were crazy. If they'd have told me that there's a flu epidemic that's going around, that you have to be mandated to stay home, you're going to shut down the whole world, I'd have said, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. But these things are happening because the masses, but I love the way I'm not sure if David Icke said it or somebody else, but they call them sheeple, because it's like, my point is, 4 weeks ago, everybody realized it was over. This thing's over. We have whatever, quote, herd immunity is. And of course, if you're older, this is flu season. You're going to die. I know 2 people personally, not during this pandemic, but that have died by taking the flu shot. Literally, they took the flu shot, never left the hospital.
Yeah. Well, we're not encouraged to think on our own. And just like you said, they're thinking for us, and we've got to stop and we've got to say, okay, it's time to think for ourselves. That brings us to BrainTap. So how does BrainTap help us when we're panicking, when we are stressed, when we're not sleeping, and when people are telling us what to do? And we know intuitively, Patrick, that our body is in alignment. It's not in alignment of the truth that we've grown to be told that the truth is a lie and the lie is a truth. And that is, and we know, and I say this all the time, as a matter of fact, I created this. This is it's a part of my registered service mark to be. There's lie, the word LIE is in the middle of believe. It's in the middle of belief. And back in 1981, William Casey said that we will know when our disinformation program is complete. He's the head of the CIA. our disinformation program is complete when everything the American public believe, and I will add the world believe, is a lie. So here we are. We are trained to be right. We want to be right, and at all costs. And what David Icke talked about was the woke population. It doesn't matter how you do it. The outcome is what's important. Morally, it's not important. Whatever you do, it's not important. The outcome is important, how it happens. So we are entraining the brain from childbirth, from colleges, from all of that. The brain is being entrained with lies. So how can BrainTap help with that? First of all, can it? And second of all, how does BrainTap help with bringing all this hysteria to a more acceptable place in our life?
Well, first of all, we need to remember that our brain and our body, we live in a quantum field of infinite possibilities. Mm-hmm. So when you start limiting that field, then you're going to limit the possibilities that are there. We're designed to overcome, evolve. It's not just the motto of the Marines, that we're supposed to overcome these obstacles. It's inherent part of our nature. We will survive. We'll get through this too. There's something that they coined in the 70s called psychoimmunology. And what they know now is that our psychology literally affects our biology. Mm-hmm. So it affects our immunity. So I interviewed just recently the people who run Dr. Emoto's lab over in Japan, because I wanted to know what they're thinking about this. And they showed two pictures. They showed the picture of the coronavirus when you put coronavirus on the water. And those who don't know about the secret life of water, we're 70% water. Mm-hmm. So what we think, we're structured water. That's how we hold the field in our physical reality. So, and they now know this even in science. They're holding the newest computers, the supercomputers use structured water to store information. So they can freeze water and they can see these crystals under these microscopes. When they did it with COVID, it looked okay. It looked bad, but it wasn't like fear or anxiety. But as soon as you put fear in COVID, it became demonic, the way it crystallized. But if you used COVID in gratitude, knocked it out. COVID had no power over it. Now, if you look too at people like Wim Hof and people doing breath exercises, we know that they've actually injected Wim Hof with things worse than coronavirus, and it didn't even affect him, because when you have that breath, in each breath that we breathe in, there is something called the Atma, if you think of Eastern philosophy, but it's the life force. And some believe that the next moment of creation, the next thing for your brain to visualize, realize, and become a part of is part of that breath. So let's say that they want to stop that. What better way than put a mask on somebody? Mm-hmm. You're not going to get the right information. Plus, there's a lot of people that show that when you're breathing with a mask, you're actually breathing in a lot of your own feces, because that's one of the ways we eliminate. And they've done tests with that. My brother-in-law, who's a maxillofacial surgeon, he used to take the mask off people, when he was going to do their work. Now he says they won't even touch it. They're so gross. These masks are so gross that people are wearing, because they're just wearing them day in and day out. They're not cleaning them. It's far worse. They're carrying around.
Wow.
It's terrible. In fact, and now there's also, for those people who are really into the environment, plastic straws and good, they showed that now there's piles of these masks washing up on the shores of our country, in our lakes and our rivers and our streams, because they're just throwaways. And these are being made in sweatshops in China, where they're afraid that this came from. But they're wearing them thinking it's protecting them. So that fear, the thing is that if you believe it's protecting you, then it is at some level, it is. But eventually when you can't breathe, there's going to be a disruption. So what BrainTap does is when you're in the state of alpha and theta, which is the state between being awake and being asleep, in that dreamless world, where you can dream in that world, and those dreams aren't fixed with this reality. Mm-hmm. You can be doing all the things that you can't do in physical reality. You can, like in the pictures of the kids playing baseball while they're in the classroom, that's why they don't learn and things like that. Yeah. But the reality is that the body doesn't know the difference between real or imagined.
That's right.
This more than ever is the important time to tune out mainstream media. because you're only getting one narrative. If you're going to watch that, you need to find the exact polar opposite and watch that as well, so you get both sides of the story. Nobody's getting both sides of the story right now, and that uncertainty in there dividing us. So with BrainTap, what I always tell people is, let's return back to what you can control. We can control our own emotional state. As far as what you do during Thanksgiving, I would tell them to go fly a kite, because the big joke is, I used to live in California, so I get a lot of things from Gavin Newsom and all the things this guy's crazy. I bet they have pictures of him peeking through the windows while you're at Thanksgiving dinner, making sure you don't have more than 6 people in your house and you have single serving. I mean, how ridiculous. I do believe, though, this is true for any flu season. In fact, this year, my doctor, who's an alternative medical doctor, MD, very, very prominent in the Raleigh area, he was delivered by the CDC to stop reporting flu cases. Why? So, they're not calling them flu anymore. Everything is COVID. And the reality is nothing is COVID. It's another flu, and it's very bad. And if you're over 70 years old and you didn't take care of yourself, and you have diabetes and you're overweight and you have all these complications, stay in the house. Don't that's true every year. So I think what BrainTap does better than anything is it puts you into alignment with what you can do. I would like to be traveling still, doing my shows, having a few hundred people in the audience and having my booth and meeting people. But we've made the best of it, and we're doing okay. We can't fight. Unfortunately, we can do what we can do. And eventually, I think there will be powers that will say, enough's enough, because this is just getting incredibly insane. And, but we can only do what we can do. So really, when you put on the headset and you start using it, you can have your own private Idaho, as they say, or we call energy oasis. You can have your oasis from the storm. And you're going to need that, because if you're constantly under chronic low-level stress, there's going to be some, your body can't disengage, and we were talking before about my TED Talk I just gave.
Yeah, I want to talk about that too.
So when we talk about how does technology affect our biology? Well, right now, when we pick up we're not going to go without our phones. Even though we know there's some bad things about them, and we might put them on airplane mode a lot of the times or whatever, and just tell people we're checking them at different times. If you're Macola, you only turn it on like 3 times a day or something. But the reality is that we're not going to go without technology. So we need to find ways. We know, like, people are scared about EMF too, right? So we know that affects our biology. Dan DeBon, who runs Radiation Nation, who wrote the book Radiation Nation, and he's probably the most leading authority in all of these different EMF conditions that are out there. He put in his book, BrainTap is the number one thing to do if somebody's suffering from EMF poisoning, because what happens when the brain is balanced, you're in a grounded state. You create your own field.
Wow.
And your brain is not out of balance, because what's happening, all this technology is causing our biology to go out of balance, what I call the survivor brain. And all this news is not helping that, right? We're getting a cascade of different events.
Yeah.
We just thought we were over it. Oh no, here comes Fauci and the gang again, telling, just fear mongering, and so depending upon, that's triggering this survivor brain. So we have to have a release. What happens with the light, the reason that the light, sound, and vibration is there is, if you and I were back and we were Plains Indians and we were traveling across the plains, today we would get up in the morning of our own volition. We would decide, if you're a hunter or a gatherer today, you'd go out and do your work. At the end of the day, we'd come back together. We might not ever have a stressful event that day. We might have worry that we won't find vegetation, or we might not find something to hunt, but it's not like the stress we have today. We're getting bombarded on a daily basis, triggering that. Now, also at night, we did something we don't do anymore. At nighttime, we would sit by the fire and talk about what happened. Hey, I found some berries over here, or there's some buffalo over here, whatever's going on. We'd have this little chat. And then by the crackling of the fire, our brain would slow down. And really, we're getting infrared from that fire. And so it's turning, like the red light therapy you see that is so popular today, it's telling our brain to shut off. Actually, in the Vedas, which is the Indian text, they talk about chronos therapy. And the chronotherapy is the sun. And they talked about how if you get up in the morning between the hours of 3 and 6 or 3 hours before sunrise, you're actually going to dose your body with infrared light. Because even though we don't see the light from the sun, we get infrared light. And what they showed was in the Indian people, if they got up and did their yoga, their stretches outside, they didn't burn. Because there's something called chromophores. Every cell of our body has these things. They're like solar panels. So our body is meant to absorb light, real light, not indoor light. So did
you say 3 to 6 in the morning?
Yes.
And so there's infrared lighting, even though it's dark?
Yes. Infrared we don't see. It's the first rays of sun, and it's, I don't know if you've ever seen like a sunrise on or sunset on the ocean, but you always try to see that green blip that happens. If you see that, because all the colors of the rainbow are descending, that green blip is like the last thing before the sun drops below the horizon. After that, it's all infrared pretty much.
Wow.
So we have, those are the spectrum of light that we exist in out of the vastness of the universe is like this much, just a very thin layer. But there's all those other spectrums. There's creation on all those other levels. We just don't know what it is. We're not privileged to see it or hear it or experience it because it's not in our vibration. It's not in the vibration that we live in. But there's something going on there. And that's why we get affected by, there's more crime during full moons, for instance, because we're getting the lunar effect, they call it, even changes our tides, which are water. So our brain gets out of balance. What the BrainTap is doing through this light and sound and vibration is going back to nature, using nature's frequencies and training the brain. So we can't change nature, but what we can do is we can use the lights in the ears, which are blood doping. We're actually filling the blood in the ears, the hemoglobin, with light that circulates through the body, and it actually heals the body by finding those cells which are in apoptosis, which means cell death. And when those cells get that light, it's called mitochondrial health. It's one of the biggest things going right now.
Yeah.
We've been doing it since the 80s without knowing it. Most of this research has been in about the last 10 years. We did it because it made us feel good and took us out of pain. This device, my early device, which was called the MC square, because I really liked Einstein, we called it that because we were looking for a solution for pain. You can only experience pain in the beta state. You can only experience stress in the beta state. So if you're not sleeping well, if you're worrying, you have anxiety, these are keeping you in a brainwave state that actually causes your body to wear out faster, to have more stress. And every emotion has a chemical corresponding reaction in the body. So you don't just have a thought. You have a thought that has an emotion that has a chemical reaction. When they say that
a frequency, a frequency. Yeah.
So we want to change those frequencies. And unfortunately, for the last year here, 2020, we've been bombarded with negative emotions. So we have to do just like taking a shower in the morning, we've got to take a brain shower and really tune up our brain, because if we don't maintenance our thinking, somebody's going to be doing our thinking for us, just as we said earlier.
So the earpiece, this is far infrared that goes through the meridians of the ear. So it's clearing up.
It's not far infrared there. Right. That's just 810 light and 633 light and 510 light. Okay. The infrared is just part of the sunlight. We don't use infrared in this headlight. We have other lights that use infrared.
Got it. Okay.
They won't hurt your eyes.
But this helps clear out the meridians in the ear, right? In the body.
Yeah. What we do is we have a device called an HRV, but it's really called the data pulse analysis. We can, in your body, like your eyes, like the iridology conference we met at years ago, and then like your palm, people can do things with your palm or the bottom of your feet called reflexology. They can do it in the ears, because your ear is a representation of your whole body. Your body is like a hologram that just keeps duplicating itself. So we know if we open up the meridians in the ears, a lot of people will, when they first get this, maybe their right ear's a little warmer than the left. They go, something's wrong. We'll get calls all the time. Something's wrong with my BrainTap. My right ear is warmer than my left. No, it's just give it a few more times. It'll clear it out. And it's almost like they feel water draining. It's there. They have blockages there in the meridians. Our energy system of the body is designed to move. But if we have stress, anxiety, and fear, all those negative emotions, those have to show up as blocks on the body. Think of your body like a hard drive, and your mind is the software, but it has to have a way to store all that information. So it's storing it in our bodies. And we want to clear those out of the body in a way that they don't influence our joy, our happiness, our success. Our body is designed to go through some pretty traumatic things. I mean, in general, I mean, even if this was this really bad thing that has never shown up, but can you imagine a virus so deadly you've got to get tested to know you have it? I mean, it's just
and not only that, it has a death rate of 0.002. I mean, it's very minor, and
right.
but that goes to show you the brain doesn't know fact from fiction, truth or a lie. It doesn't know do from don't. It just knows the word that you're using, and if we constantly watch misinformation, our brain will be misinformed. And so what I love about BrainTap is that it hacks into our brain, it works with our brain, and it gets it to a place where the brain can start being a brain.
Right, exactly.
And so many of us, our brain is full of fear. And so I love the fact that you saw a need for people that were during COVID, and you have so let's talk a little bit about the headset and what BrainTap does and the app. And for those of you who want to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, go to the little shop now bag, and there is a special for the headset, although you don't need the headset. But it does improve. I love the headset. And so you don't need to have it, but there is a $319 savings. Go to whenyouneedafriend.com, go to the shop now bag and check it out. Also, if you just want to try it out, you can go to that same shopping cart. And I also put, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, because today we weren't able to do both YouTube and Facebook, so I chose to go to YouTube today instead of Facebook. But for those of you, I just posted it. If you click on that link, it'll tell you take you to the Christmas holiday special, and you're welcome to try it. It'll also prompt you for I think it's a 30-day 99-cent trial, and that way you can experience a little bit more. So let's talk about what the headset does. So we have the clearing out of the meridians. The eyes goes into the cornea.
Yeah, when you think about the eyes, it's actually attracting optic nerve too. But our eyes are not just attached to our brain. Our eyes are brain matter. So we want to get light into the brain. When we work a lot with, in fact, one of our sleep studies just came out that was really, really impactful. Hopefully we'll be able to share that within the next 30 days. But we did a placebo with it. So we had a placebo headset because people were saying, what if people are just thinking it's that? And we had one that was ours. The placeboers had no improvement.
Oh, wow.
But the BrainTap people had a major improvement. I mean, significant improvement.
Wow.
And we also found that to be true if they didn't use the headset. So if they just used the app itself, and we had them, the placebo people with the app just listen to the music. So some people go, well, I can just listen to music at the same thing. No, we've proved it already, but we wanted to prove it again. And so what's happening is with light, sound, and vibration, it's an immersion process. So the immersion is you immerse into a new reality because our senses are our reality, right?
Yes.
What we see, hear, or experience. If you've never been on a virtual reality game, or even at some of these amusement parks now have virtual reality that are just as real as riding on a roller coaster, it seems, because your brain can't tell the difference. But we want to do it in a more positive way. It's not really about games, although we do have some people that use it when we have some, what do they call it? EAS gamers that use it. They're in competitive gaming, and they use this to reboot their brain. because working on the computer all day long or even playing games is really stressful for the brain.
Yeah.
So we live in a world now that has more brain stress. I mean, back 100 years ago, we had more body stress. People were working a lot out in the fields, doing what they needed to do, and they could come in and maybe take a little nap, have a little food, and they'd be right at it. But now people are so drained by the end of the day, especially the stress right now is the place I live is now the place I make my living.
Yes.
And there's no separation. Our brain needs that separation. We recommend, like for the BrainTap use, that you set up a place, whether it's in a special room in your home or someplace where you go and say, this is where I'm going to go and really reboot. And really, it's like taking a 4-hour nap. The equivalency is. So, there's no way to escape. But the nice thing about the BrainTap is you get an escape because your consciousness gets an escape. Not your physically, you might still be there, but your consciousness, it feels like you've been gone for, some people tell us, hey, it feels like I've been gone for a week, like I'm returning from a vacation. And that's really what we wanted to experience. And that only happens because of what we're doing with the layering sounds, with the isochronic tones.
That's right. There's some sounds, because right now there's a meditation going on in this headset. And it's usually Dr. Patrick Porter. I always tell Patrick that whenever I see him, I think he's going to make me cluck like a chicken, because it's like I hear his voice and I hear and obey. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, one thing I like to tell people is we're training people how to think, not what to think.
That's right.
So when you're thinking about it, I don't tell you, like, just as an example for business, I don't tell people to use affirmations like, I'm rich, I'm famous, I'm whatever. No, it's like, what would it be like if you had all the money you needed to do the things you want to do and improve the quality of your life?
Allow us to dream. You allow us to dream.
Yes.
And look at the possibilities. And so I remember the first time, because I am the type of person that I'm always doing, my mind's always racing, where I'm always creating, thinking. I love creating. So when my mind is in that mode, I just love it. But when it's time to shut it down, I have to go through a ritual, like brushing my teeth, taking a shower, doing certain things. But I've tried to get into meditation. I have really, really tried, but it doesn't fill me. It doesn't, I love journaling. That fills me. But meditating and listening to something, this puts you, this headset allowed me to go deeper into meditation at a very short period of time. I am listening, I am sensing and feeling, and my whole body, it becomes a part of this headset. And what the headset is doing is balancing out my brain waves, right? Is that a good explanation?
You're going through the different brain waves because those brain waves actually instruct your body. There's something called the HPA axis, the gut-brain axis. And when your brain is in the right brain waves, it instructs your gut to function. A lot of people are doing, it's best if you do both. You're doing something like nutrition-wise, doing some good nutrition and working on your brain. But for those people that have done nutrition and then they're going, hey, I'm not getting what I thought I'd get out of it. Well, if you're in fight or flight, you're in stress.
That's right.
You're not digesting or metabolizing that food. Correct. One study we did with a group in Provo showed 30% more absorption of their nutrients when they used the BrainTap during IV therapy. Wow. So when you're relaxed, when you are relaxed in doing it, your body digests better. We actually showed in the one study that this May we reported to the National Institute of Health. We had a study that was published by them, by their integrative health practitioners courses. And we showed that metabolism was increased 23% by doing a BrainTap session.
Which one in particular? Is there any, because by the way, guys, there are thousands of meditations that also work with the brain. And if you have a hearing problem, the vibrations help. I mean, this is like, it was my greatest discovery a couple of years ago, or over a year ago. And so many people that have tried this, they can't believe it. Even my grandson, who I'm telling you, he is just such a cute little blessing, but his brain is always, when I put it on him, because it's for children as well, he actually relaxed. and he was listening. My daughter and son-in-law were like, there's no way. What is in that thing? What is in that thing? Because it does capture you, because it speaks to you in a cellular level. It's the only thing I could
our body, if we were flying in my spaceship toward Earth and we were to look at the Earth has a frequency response, meaning it's vibrating energy from 0.01 to 100. Our brain does the same thing, 0.01 to 100. Now that's high gamma. Very few people ever get there, but our brain can have that kind of response. In fact, they've actually measured some people's brains up to 200 hertz. Mm-hmm. So, but our brain, there are certain frequencies we love, like going to the ocean, for instance. We love going to the ocean because the ocean has a 10 hertz frequency response. People love walking through forest and woods and things because it has a 10 hertz frequency. Nature itself is tuned to alpha. The city, unfortunately, is tuned to beta, which is stress, anxiety, and fear. Now, mountaintops, at tree lines, that's 7.8 hertz frequency. That's gamma. That's theta, which produces GABA, which is probably the most right now. It used to be the most researched drug on the market, but now COVID took its place. But the people were trying to find that because that's the one that most adults are missing. We're missing theta. So most of our sessions are designed for theta. And I just want to tell the listeners that our average user on the BrainTap headset listens 28 times a month. We only have 1% of our users ever dropping from our app. So once they get on there, they start using it. That's how you know something's working. When somebody says, like our business partners go, how do you know it's working? Go, well, we do these kind of shows. And we might start advertising because we're not doing shows anymore like the live shows, but we've grown our business just really by word of mouth. People like yourself, sharing it with your group. And it's because once somebody uses it, now, of course, nothing's for everyone, but they can try it for free. And
that's right.
The test is always your test. It could work for 1 million people, but you could be that one person it doesn't work for. or you could be one of those million that it does work for.
Yeah, I had gone to a clinic to one of the doctors, and this was pre-COVID, when I was still visiting my doctors, but there was a woman who was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and she could not sleep at night. And I remember the doctor said, well, would you do a session on her? And I said, yes, but she needs to know I'm not a therapist or anything. I'm just going to just have her. She cried because it was the first time that she felt relaxed in a long time. So so for those of you who want to learn a little bit more, you can go to my shopping bag. I think that's where you'll find it. And it's the BrainTap logo. Look at the BrainTap logos right there. And then you can sign up. You could either sign up for free and have a 15-day free trial, or I think it's either 30 days or 45 days for 99 cents. So there's just so many different ways that you could try it out. But that headset, to me, even though you don't need it, made a huge difference for me. And of course, meeting you at the iridology convention and listening to you speak, you immediately go, okay, this makes sense. When so many things do not make sense, when you explain how the headset works, it makes sense. Our brain's constantly sending out signals. And if we're getting false information, what do you think our brain is doing to us?
Yeah, most people don't know, Lillian, that we are light. It's not a metaphysical concept anymore. While we're sharing biophotons all the time. Back, I guess it was 2003, they mapped the genome of our body. That's what they said, right? But it was only 1%. They said 99% was junk. Now they know that 99% is actually being changed every 40 seconds. They can't map it because it's always in a state of flux, and it's changing based on the light that you emit, based on the people you're around, the food you consume, the water you drink, the thoughts you think. We are ever changing. In the old expression, you never wake up in the same body, like you never step into the same river, is very true. You're not the same person. And so, but the stress is people try to bring their old self with them. And we are light. That's why light is the medicine of the future. People are going to find it more and more. I mean, when I go to India or Brazil and places like that don't have light therapy like we do in America, they're like blown away. Where is this? And I'm like going, we've been doing this since the 80s in America. I just don't know. But this is big. And, what we've done is we've made it affordable too for people all over the world, so they can use this and start bringing. My goal, of course, as you know, is to better 1 billion brains, because I think it's going to take 1 billion brains. For people that don't understand why 1 billion brains, there's something called the morphogenetic field. That's a field that we all play in. Now, we have our own field, but think about this for a minute. In the labs, if a rat runs a maze, any rat runs one maze through any place on the earth, they have to get rid of that maze and every other facility, because every rat on earth knows how to run that maze. And they didn't talk to each other. We're connected. If the rats are connected, we're connected. So
one rat runs a maze, and every single rat will know from that point on, because they send these signals to one another.
We're sharing the same brain.
Amazing.
We're sharing the same consciousness. We're not, our bodies are here, right? But this is just our temporal experience. But the reality of who we are, we have no concept. When in the 70s, they actually they had a device that could measure our frequency and say, hey, they could point it into your classroom. Let's say you have 20 people in there. Go, you got 20 people in there, Lillian. But so they decided with this device, it's in a book by Dr. Jockman called The Crystal Planet. And he said that they put it up in a satellite, and it scared the hell out of the NASA people, because when they pointed it back at Earth, it registered one person and it made the sound of Om.
Wow.
So imagine what scientists did. That didn't get published anywhere. It's like there's so much in a baby. When they're crying, when they're first born, they make the sound of so and hum with their lungs. When they connect that, it's the sound of Om. It's natural to us. When the ancients started practicing this, we're trying to make sense out of it. People are trying to say this is woo-woo. No, this is now science fact now. It's not metaphysical. It's physical fact, because we're not physical. We're not physical beings. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And of course, we can limit ourselves. And that's what's happening right now, is people are believing we're mechanistic. We're like these machines, and we need to get our oil changed, and we need to change our tires. We need to get a new engine. That's not us.
No.
We're much more than that.
Yeah. Okay. For those of you who want to learn more or have a question for Dr. Porter, type in a Q and write your questions down. Of course, we're just broadcasting today from YouTube, but I'm excited I'll be uploading everything later on wherever I do. We just need to know that there is a cancel culture right now. I'm very grateful for being in this platform, but we don't know how long that's going to be, especially with everything that's happening. And, to hear that information about how we're all one, we know it, but we don't know it, because all the other information that we're getting is superseding truth. And so I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Please become a subscriber. While you're there, please check out all the different sponsors and go to the Shop Now bag, like and follow me and every social media that I have. Go to the Shop Now bag, check out my BrainTap, as well as the non-chemicals, all organic makeup and cleansers. We have the First Alternative Care, the pharmacy, and we have the affiliate programs like Ground Therapy, Avasia, and BrainTap. So many different ways that we can change our body, change our brain, and have a different outcome. So for those of you who want to try BrainTap, go to my Shop Now bag. There should be a couple of links that you can go to. Actually, now 3, because I have the link also to the event that you did back in the summertime. that was very successful for people to go in there and get all out of information. But if you go onto the way that this BrainTap does, you have an app and it plays all the different meditations, and it has all the different sounds and vibrations and the light when you get the headset. So they have a combination. It's a holiday package, and you save $319. So the headset is normally $647, but you save $100 if you go through. Actually, no, $200. So it's more than 120. So it's 319. So it's 447 for the headset. And then the app, normally you pay monthly for the app, but if you get this, it's $120 as opposed to for the year, as opposed to $239. So there's a huge holiday savings. If you know someone who has different issues, or they just want to relax or take a little vacation in right where you're at, this has so much, this headset has so much potential and opportunity for all of you. So I want to encourage you to give it a try. You could either get it for free. And by the way, I want to share with the people who will watch the classroom, and if you want to become an enrolled student in the classroom and donate, because I don't do sponsorships anymore, please feel free to donate your time, your talent, your treasure, whether it's $1 or $1,000 a month. Please be a part of that. Today, we're talking to Dr. Patrick Porter. He is the creator and inventor of BrainTap. I've been kind of demonstrating this headset, but you can do it without the headset. You can get if you go in, just try it for free. Go into my website at whenyouneedafriend.com. As you know, I say you can take a pill or you can take responsibility. Many of you will take a pill for anxiety. Many of you will take a pill for depression. That won't do anything. You still have your brain, you still have your body, you still have all the issues you're dealing with. BrainTap helps you cut through that within years of what it would take you if you were to try to meditate. As I was trying to say earlier, I can't meditate, but I can BrainTap. That's for sure. So if you want to save some money or try it, go to whenyouneedafriend.com. I put the link on there. If you have any questions for Dr. Porter, please type in a Q and write the question. But I'm telling you, I've seen so many transformations, Dr. Porter or Patrick. I've seen so many transformations with people who try it once, let alone start doing this every day. And how long? So some of the sessions are short, some of the sessions are longer. Why are they so different? Like, for example, there are some where just sounds. There's some with sounds and music. There's sounds with, some with just the lighting and the music. I mean, there's so many different ways. Yeah. How is it that you figured out to do this, Patrick?
Well, of course, we didn't start out that way. We started out with just the sounds. And what we found out was the sounds are good, but our brain is very curious and can get bored. Like if we listen to the same music, even though we might like the Eagles, pretty soon that Eagles album is going to be, we need something else. We need them to come out with something else. So that's how it's been developed. But we have different sessions, like for the morning time, your brain needs a different setup in the morning. We need to wake up the brain. And there's actually a brainwave called SMR, sensory motor rhythm, that we need to wake up. So we call it digital coffee. So the morning, those are usually only 10 minutes. And then we have our reboot sessions. They're usually around 20 minutes. Yeah.
This is the app. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah. So when they do the afternoon sessions, those are the reboot. And what we showed in our study that we presented to the National Institute of Health was that we showed that you can reclaim 80% of the energy you have in the morning in the afternoon when you do a BrainTap session. Mm-hmm. In the evening, now we have PM sessions or sessions that teach you to go to sleep, because a lot of people don't have the same wind down protocol that you do. They think, I just watched the news and I'm going to pop into bed, put my head on the pillow and go to sleep. Yeah. That's usually not going to happen. So what we do is we train the brain to go from the wide awake state into a deep state of what's called delta. And delta sleep is what we need to detox the brain. And if you're not getting that, and just as another point, you're talking about a pill or responsibility, our brain is the most powerful pharmacy on earth. So if we can trigger every pill you take is really just your reaction to that pill. It's your brain doing it anyway. Even when you get high from cannabis, let's say we have cannabinoid receptors in our brain. If we didn't have cannabinoid receptors in our brain, that marijuana wouldn't do anything to us.
Interesting.
because we wouldn't have any reaction. But because it does, we've got a whole industry about it,
Yeah.
But we can do, so you can activate that same, like, that's why CBD is so popular now. People want the effects, the healing effects, but they don't want the buzz because they want to keep their faculties. So you can do that with your own brain. You can have that crystal clear focus, that presence, that ability to be timely. And sleep is a bad thing. 2/3 of American population right now, before COVID, 2/3 of America wasn't sleeping. So what is happening today is even worse. So we need to get people sleeping, making better decisions, thinking for themselves. We can't change what we've been mandated to do until we all get together and do that. But we have to at least be capable of making those good decisions. And when you're under stress, most of us know if you're under stress, they say don't make any life-changing decisions, but they're asking us to make life-changing decisions like go vote. But we're in the middle of a pandemic,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. So there is so many different ways that you can work with your body to heal. Work with your body to heal. So many of us are in resistance, and so many of us try different ways outside of ourselves to get better. It's not necessarily going to do as good as if you work with your body. And so I want to encourage all of you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, check out whether you want to try it for free or you want to get the headset now, because, many people have seen me talk about the headset. You have been in the classroom before, and, Kelly Bono, her life completely changed after one session. After one session of BrainTap, she was so excited that she said, where can I get this? I need this now. And she was tapping. She was, so a BrainTap, you could do one session and then you can wait. You can do another session. So you've tested like 3 times a day, but some people do more, right?
Yeah.
Well, Kelly broke the record.
Yeah, we have a whole program for the hospital called Medical Recovery Series. And some people just listen to it every time they wake up to help recover faster.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many different ways that you can use BrainTap. So take advantage of it. The holiday special runs till January 15th, and you'll save $319. I love a good savings. And you will get the headset plus the 1 year for the app. And that way you don't have to worry about having to pay for the app every month. So give it a try and see how your life changes. So Patrick, so if somebody were to walk in right now and say, what are these people talking about? Because people tune in all the time. What would you say was the overall important takeaway from today's class?
That there's technology that can balance your nervous system and have you healthy, regardless of what's happening in the world around you. You can take back control of your health by taking back control of a simple process, 10 to 20 minutes a day. You can have your health back.
That's right. That's all it takes. And like this morning, I did my wake up. I love the focus. I actually did one that's different. I noticed that you had a different one on there. I think it was worry free. Which one did I do this morning? So it was the worry free me. And it was committing to your balanced life. And that's what I'm committing to. I am committing to a balanced life. And so this will help my brain kind of get into alignment that I really want. For people that think that this is kind of like mind control, what do you say about that?
Well, I say that you're already being controlled. So there's no, the thing is that if you don't take control yourself and learn how to think, people are going to be thinking for you. And I think that's happening way too often. And if they listen to it, do the free session, just stay with your eyes open. You're going to find we only use positive psychology. We're not anything. All I want is the best for you. Mm-hmm. I believe that there is no one on this planet, even those that are looking like they're trying to do damage to us right now. I still believe that inherently they are good, that there's a divine plan, that we don't have I don't have the script. We'll leave that up to God to deliver that. We just have to be present and be willing to play our part when we're called upon. And I think that too many people are playing second fiddle when they should be stepping up and playing their part. And I want to be a part of awakening them to play their part And I think that somebody listening might even have the next technology that's going to transform our planet, because I don't think this is the end of it. I mean, I think that everything is an evolving, unfortunately, stress causes us to grow and learn and develop, and we're going to learn, grow, and develop from this. And I'm going to keep I've been told I'm too optimistic all the time. That's why my Gmail is Dr. Positive, so, yeah, but I do believe that there will be, my first publisher used to say, Patrick, there's gold in every pan. So, there's gold in this pan. We just have to find what it is, and don't sell out. Don't throw all the rocks out without looking for the gold, and don't believe somebody when they say there's no gold in that pan. You can be healthy. For me, I don't know if you noticed, but I've lost 40 pounds
I was going to say that to you. I was going to see, how have you done that? But the BrainTap, the weight loss one? Yep.
BrainTap and then the having time to exercise like I should. I do a lot with blood flow restriction bands now. I learned about those, and it makes my workout 15 minutes, and I get a really good workout every morning, and I jump on my mini tramp, and I don't have to worry about traveling. So yeah. I don't get to eat at all those nice restaurants people would take me to, but that's the
that's a good thing.
But you got to take responsibility, and I hear you in my mind all the time. But I hear you can have a snack or you can have good weight.
You can take a pill, you can take a responsibility, you can have a snack or have good weight. They all work, Patrick. No, Joe Mercola was the one that talked about the restriction, the blood flow restriction here in the classroom. And I was at the booth
when the guy that sold him those, and I saw Joe come back.
I know. I said, you got to tell me what you've been doing. We're going to go. The music just started. Thank you, Dr. Porter, for sharing your wisdom. For those of you who are watching, follow, share this information, and we're going to continue our conversation when our theme song is complete. Please remember, we'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott and Dr. Patrick Porter, wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Good job. Here we go. Just hold on.
The opinions and advice expressed on the Lillian McDermott radio show are intended for the individual callers and guests on the program and are presented to our wider audience solely for general educational purposes. Please act responsibly and consult personally with your own medical, psychological, or nutritional expert before taking any steps to improve your life.
So I absolutely love this product. And I would love for everybody to have the opportunity to try this product. So if you're curious about it, go to whenyouneedafriend.com, click onto the free trial. I also I've placed if you're interested in purchasing the headset, I put the link on the chat for the YouTube chat. You're welcome to click on it, and I'll also put it on the body of the information that you put in for what do you call it? Just the body of the notification for YouTube or Facebook. And BitChute, I will do that. And so that way you get to choose what you would like. But I'm telling you, Patrick, it's been a life changer. And you're such a great company to work with. And I just want to continue to help you grow as well. So you mentioned something about that you had released 40 pounds. That's huge. That's huge for you to release. How do you feel after doing that? You didn't do it with any pills, did you?
No, it was great. I mean, the whole thing was about basically eating. I started doing the intermittent fasting. I did a series with Mindy Pelz, and we did a series together for intermittent fasting. So I started doing that first. And then back when we were still traveling, I shared a booth with somebody who had the blood flow restriction bands. And then I've now got 3 different companies that have sent me blood flow restriction bands, and they all work about the same. But the one that, some are very expensive and some aren't. I mean, the one that I now recommend to people is only around $500.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it works. It's like a blood pressure cuff. You just pump it up and you do it. And I bought a set for Cynthia and myself, and she's not really she likes to swim because she washes off the sweat as she's swimming, so she's
a multitasker. I get her. Yeah.
Where I don't feel like I've worked out unless I've really, worked out. So sometimes I wouldn't work out because I didn't have time to do it, but now I do. And I actually started with just 3-pound weights, doing them, and I could get that resistance. Now I'm up to 10-pound weights, and I can put on my Gaia TV or whatever I'm watching and watch a show and do my workout, and then I usually end it with 10 minutes of rebounding.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's awesome. Hey, tell one of those companies, especially the one that's 500, whichever one is the easiest one to do, send them to me. I'd love to have them on. Maybe we can do a class on that at the beginning of the year, because I really would like, once I reach, they say that muscle has a memory. Well, I think my muscles have dementia because they are not bouncing back. And I don't know what I'm doing I can do a little muscle. I can flex and have a muscle, but it's not toned like it used to be. And when I saw 2 years prior, I had Dr. Mercola was doing, like, I don't know if it was the keto or paleo. I don't know what he was doing, but he got really, really sick.
Yes.
He got really, really sick. And I remember seeing him after, like 2 years later. I had seen him the year after, and then the year after that. And I said to him, I was sitting next to him, and I said, "Okay, Joe, you need to tell me what you've been doing." And he was so proud to just like show me his muscles because, very little effort. But I was thinking, would you cut off your circulation? Wouldn't that be hard for you? Is it, so get him on. I would love to make the connection and get him on so that we could all learn how we can maximize our workout, get more muscle. We just aired this class as a watch party. I think it was on Friday or even yesterday, that particular class, because I'm so impressed with that. So you were able to see results right away?
Oh, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, my doctor was really amazed because I go to a natural doctor, but when he said, "Everybody's gaining weight. What's going on?" And then we did the fat to, I lost, I think it was, the weight was like, I lost so much fat and I gained muscle, the percentage. So that was what was really important to me, because I know my metabolism now. And, I'll connect you with the ones that.
I will. I love that.
More of a marketing system than the other. One is, which is weird, is the first one I got, but it's very expensive.
Yeah.
And I bought a few of those for people because they were working for me. And then when I found these others, I go, they're just, this one doesn't plug in like the first one I had, Katsu. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
Yeah, I think that's what he was doing. That's what Joe was doing.
Yeah, Katsu's a really good brand, but it's expensive. Mm-hmm. And I have the professional one, like you can have at a clinic. And then when I got these others, they're, if you want, I'll send you the information. I have a special.
I would love it. I would love it. Okay, so for those of you, because we're not really talking about these bands, we are here to talk about the BrainTap. I want to encourage you to go to whenyouneedafriend.com. Check it out for free. For free. You can't get better than that. And then after 15 days, you can decide whether or not you want to take advantage of it. I absolutely love this product. I believe that many of us, with just a little tweaking, just like Patrick has done, and he's shown us that during this time, he's released 40 pounds. Why? Because he's giving the body what it needs. And once you give the body what it needs, it will respond kindly. But that goes to show you how much fat and oil and sugar and salt there is in foods at restaurants. And keeping yourself from that, look at the results. Look at the results. 40 pounds. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So any last anything that's going on with BrainTap that you want to share before we go, Patrick?
Well, they should jump over to BrainTap Tech on Facebook and keep up to date with what we have going on there. I'm right now putting together our summit. Our Optimal Performance Summit is going to launch in January.
Okay.
Which is all the videos have been done. And then I'm doing Health Talks Online asked me to interview 30 people. So I'm interviewing for them for the Better Brain Summit. And that's with there's a documentary called Live Better, Live Longer. And they featured me in there because the guy who put it all together, and he talks about this freely in the movie, but he was suffering from depression and he used BrainTap and got help. So he interviewed me as part of that documentary to share with people. And so they're part of this Health Talks Online, which is pretty big. They usually have about 150,000 people watch their talks.
Wow. Yeah.
That's gonna be really big. And that's going to air in February or March. But if they stay over if they check us out over and become friends, or however you do that on Facebook, I should know. But
you like or follow. Yeah.
Yeah. Like and follow.
Yeah.
So we can keep you up to date on that. And then of course we'll post this video over there too. So people know usually the social media gang's pretty good about getting it out to our people.
Yeah. There's so many things that we don't know. And we need to replace all this false information. And what I want people to think is that there is a lie at the middle of belief. There is a lie, L-I-E, it says it right there. And what we believe is our reality. But what if everything we believed was true is a lie? But here's the other side of that. What if everything that was a lie, that we thought was a lie, is truth? And so it's up to us to start opening our mind and opening our brain and training it so that it'll open itself for this truth. And so I want to thank you, Dr. Porter, for everything you've done to help us grow and expand and allow our body to give it what it needs so that we can set ourselves free from any medication, from any programming that that has been controlled upon us, put upon us because of trying to sell a product or trying to sell a drug or trying to sell a party, whatever it is. It's time to just end the madness and start waking up and becoming light, true light to the world. So thank you so much, Dr. Porter, for everything you do. I'm sorry that we couldn't go on both Facebook and YouTube, but we will get everything out there. And if any of you have any questions, I will put the link in the description. That's it. That's the description page. You said I knew the brain will eventually download the right information. So thank you so much for watching today. Hopefully tomorrow we'll figure out all the glitches and what's going on. And we'll have another classroom where we can learn and grow together. So thank you so much, Dr. Porter, and we will see you again soon.
Thank you. I look forward to it anytime you need anything.